Today is gonna be a good day. We're back at the shop and we're working on the 62 four-door today. I'm praying that today we can get it started for the first time in like 30 years. In the last video on this car, you guys saw I was basically just tearing some shit apart and cleaning. Kind of just cleaning up some things and seeing what we're working with. We got the nasty seats sitting here still. Yeah, today is just gonna be dedicated to seeing if we can get this thing cranking or hopefully started. I got it pulled in here a couple weeks ago and it's just been sitting in here. Haven't even been down to the shop in a little while, just been kind of taking a break. But a couple weeks ago I did put Marvel's mystery oil in all of the cylinders, just kind of letting it soak since it's been sitting for so long. I did buy a bore scope and I'm gonna show you guys kind of what everything looks like inside, and yeah, let's get to it. We got like tons of crap everywhere. I think we still will be able to use this intake. I'm just gonna try and clean it the best I can, like vacuuming some stuff out. And then we have this carburetor right here. We're gonna throw on there and see if it works. I got new spark plugs, new plug wires we're gonna throw on. So this right here is the stock carburetor, which was in the trunk, I guess. I tried that other carburetor that I showed you guys, this one here. I tried this one, like I set it on there and I was messing with the throttle linkage and the butterflies on the bottom hit the intake, the stock intake. So I'm not gonna be able to use this one unless I swap out the entire intake or get like some sort of spacer. But for now, I'm just gonna try and use the stock carburetor and see what happens. Worst case, I'll just throw this entire intake setup on there, see what happens. But this carburetor on there right now, and I just gotta tighten down some of these like vacuum lines and stuff. And then the carburetor still needs to be bolted on there. And then I'll swap out the spark plugs, throw a battery in, and we'll see what happens. Okay, I decided I'm not gonna hook this up, this stock fuel line, just because I don't know what's in the line. If there's fuel in this thing, it's definitely bad. I'm gonna go ahead and throw in all 8 new spark plugs, and then we'll go get the battery. All right, so as I'm getting to this 4th spark plug down, I see these 2 wires and they are completely chewed up by mice. Kind of disgusting, but there's even hair on it. So I don't know what these go to, I'll be honest. Possibly, wait, right there. They were completely chewed through. Oh no. All right. I'll get a flashlight for you guys. You guys got to see this. Looks like straight to the starter. So it's going to be a little bit more than I thought. So I'm assuming starter solenoid. This thing probably won't even crank unless I replace those wires. Figures. All right, so I just opened up the box to my next 4 plugs, and this is a perfect reminder to always check your spark plug gaps, even on the new spark plugs. As I'm looking at these spark plugs here, the new ones, you can see that the gap is completely closed on 3 of them. This one's almost all the way closed, and then this one is also almost all the way. That first one I showed you is completely closed. This one is not, so I'm assuming that they were probably dropped or something. I'm gonna go ahead and set them to 0.035 with the little gap tool. This side's a little bit more of a pain because we got so much stuff in the way, like the steering and this power steering pump. but we'll get it. And then after these spark plugs, that one is really bad. They are a little bit wet because, like I did say, I put Marvel's Mystery Oil in the cylinders. Alright, we're back, and I ran into quite a few different problems, so I have a completely different plan now. So, as you guys saw, started trying to get everything together. I tried throwing on the original carburetor. Couldn't throw on that other one because the butterflies were hitting here because this is such a small intake. And I did get the engine to crank, but I wasn't getting any spark at all. Had my spark tester out. I did new plug wires. I was trying, well, first of all, I got all the new plugs in, and then I put plug wires on, and then I got a new coil too, and I couldn't seem to get spark. I took the distributor apart, couldn't really see anything weird. Points, I don't like messing with. The points looked fine, but I'm not really sure. I don't like messing with points. So what we're gonna do now is completely change out the intake, and this is the one which I already showed you guys. This intake and this carb we're gonna throw on, along with a brand new HEI distributor, and then we got all new gaskets here. Intake. I'll show you guys the HEI that I ordered. All right, here it is. I got it from Speedway Motors. This is what I was gonna end up upgrading to anyway, whether or not I could get the car running or not. So, what's nice about these is you pretty much only have to run one wire, 2 wires if you're running a tack, which this car doesn't have a tack, so I'll be running 1 wire, which goes straight to the ignition. Yeah, it's got a built-in coil, so I won't need to run this coil anymore. I can take this coil back. It's brand new, so yeah, I'll start taking everything apart, drop on the new intake, drop this in, get everything to top dead center, route all of the plug wires, and then we'll go from there. Alright, here she comes. There it is. Here is the factory one. That gasket was toast. Okay, now for the intake. Ow. That hose just like snapped. That hurt. Got almost all the intake bolts out, I think. Got one more on this side, right here. It's completely caked in old grease. Alright, that one's out. I think now I got 2 more on this side. Oh, actually 3 more. Alright, there it is. Holy shit, this thing is heavy. I mean, just as I was expecting, everything is crazy carboned up. Oh, looks like a little burnt. I'm actually gonna take these valve covers off too and get them cleaned up, just so they don't look so bad with that that intake and carb that I'm throwing on there. So we got one. Should have got. I'm gonna have to go get new valve cover gaskets too. I didn't even think of that. All right, so we got everything pretty much cleaned up right here. I got all of the gasket surfaces all nice and clean. And now we can go ahead and throw the new gaskets on with a little bit of RTV on the little crevice spots, and then throw the intake on. Just a little bit right there, a little bit right there, somewhere here. Okay. All right, just like that. Maybe I'll throw a little on the center too, just to help it stick. There we go. Now I can start going and bolting it all down. I'm just gonna go in that typical spiral. So we got the intake completely bolted on. I did 30 foot-pounds in a spiral motion, as you guys just saw. Now I have the water neck on the intake, gasket for it. We already have a thermostat in there. So go ahead and pop that on. Just realized that that water neck that I had on this faces this way and not forwards like this. So this thing wouldn't reach. So I cleaned up the bottom of the factory one, and I'm just gonna reuse that. All right, 20 foot-pounds. Just got valve covers on. I'm borrowing these valve covers right now because I am really not wanting to clean those other valve covers that bad. So I'm gonna use these for now. I went to screw in this fitting here for the coolant, and then I went to go and take off the hose that snapped earlier, the rubber hose, and then I took it off and it was completely like filled up. Like, look at this. With like, I don't know. This whole aluminum piece right here snapped, which is also filled with a bunch of shit. And then I took this piece off here because I wanted to take it off and see if I can clean it out. Same thing, it snapped and it's clogged. So this is pretty much just for the block heater down there. So I'm actually gonna think what I'm gonna do is completely take out the block heater, get new hoses for the heater core. We're gonna see if up front by the heater core inlet and outlet, if those are clogged. Hopefully not. And then, so basically what I'll do is there's a hose, that hose goes to the back of the motor. I'll get a plug, delete that, then I'll run one hose from the heater core to there and the other one to this water pump. Okay, it looks like we're clear on the top one. All right. Yeah, it still looks pretty fresh here. I accidentally just bent this, that sucks. Pretty much just got the block heater out, and then the hose that ran to the side of the block I got a plug for and plugged it up. So now I can pretty much just run the hose from the heater core. Technically I'm supposed to run it to these, but I'm not sure if this works or not. This might be bad. It wasn't hooked up before. So I'm just gonna run them from here to there, and then same thing on that bottom one. All right, ready to drop the distributor in. I put a little bit of oil on here. So I got the distributor in. That was actually a pretty good struggle for me there. These wiper washer lines were on the back and I didn't see them, and they were binding up, so I couldn't put the distributor in. So it's in now. It dropped right in after that. I think what I'm gonna try, since I don't have another person here, is crank the motor just a little bit with like a paper towel over the first spark plug hole, and when it gets up to the compression stroke or top dead center, it should blow the paper towel right out. I'll see where the rotor's pointing and then throw the cap on and do the firing order. I'm hoping that that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm actually gonna get my camera out, the flashlight, and see if I can see the top of the piston. I don't know. So it looks to me like it's at top dead center. I use my bore scope, and it looks like the piston 1 is actually at the top. It took me a second try, which I did off camera, but I just like blipped the key until it blew that out. Now I can go ahead and throw the cap on and start putting the plug wires on. I got the hoses on, distributors in. We got all the plug wires all in the correct order. Top dead center, got a spark tester, and then I ran this test wire from spot on the new distributor, which you just plug it into the spot that says battery, and then you run it to an ignition wire or whatever. I just dropped the carburetor on a second ago. It's not even bolted down. I need to get that bolted in. Alright, so it turns out I didn't have any vacuum hose, so I just robbed this one off of my 240, and it just is barely gonna reach. I shouldn't need to hook up fuel to get it to sputter. I'm just gonna spray some carbon choke into the carburetor. We're gonna see what happens. Alright. God damn. Oh my god, the smoke. I think that might have been the old like oil and Marvel's Mystery Oil that I put in the cylinders. That was insane. It was like instant white smoke. Okay, I'm gonna have to open the door. Maybe a fan? Look at my mess. This is all a bunch of shit that I had to take off, and then I have tools everywhere I need to clean up. But I guess I'm gonna get a fan, or maybe I'll back it up a bit. Okay, so I'm actually gonna move it like back and then in between the lift kinda, so that if I can somehow get it started, I'll be able to have a fan pointed at it and it kind of out the door a little bit, because just after a couple cranks, that much smoke came out. I'm gonna assume this whole place would be filled. So all right, guys, I think it's time we throw some real fuel at this car. But first, I'm gonna have to hook up a fuel line from the fuel pump here. This is from the actual line going to the fuel tank. I will not be using this because that has probably sediment and rust and definitely 30-plus-year-old fuel. So I'm gonna run a line, just like I usually do, down to the floor. I'm gonna fill this McDonald's cup with some fuel, and then I'm just gonna crank it with no spark. I'm gonna unhook the this wire here that I had put on from before, unhook this so that it's not getting spark. And then what we'll do is crank it, and hopefully the fuel pump will pump out whatever bad shit is probably in it right now. So I'm gonna have to take another line, and I'm just gonna kind of drape it down to a pan on the floor so it doesn't shoot out everywhere. But yeah, first we're gonna do that, and then after that I'm gonna hook up some real fuel straight from the gas can this time actually, so I have more, and then hook up spark, and then we'll try it again, see what happens. All right, so I got all the fuel line hooked up, a line coming from the fuel pump to this cup here with fuel, fresh fuel in it, and then runs up to the main hard line here, and then around, and then just sitting right here, dangling above this pan. So I did pump out all that bad shit out of the fuel pump. My camera did die, so we didn't catch it on camera, but it is all in there. So now I cut this line, and for some reason, I don't know what I was thinking, I thought this was fuel supply here, but it's actually this. So we'll hook that up. Just threw on a new belt, otherwise the water pump wouldn't be pumping and the generator wouldn't be charging. Are you guys ready for this? Well, we got fuel. I know that because I saw it suck all of it out of the McDonald's cup. Perfect. It's exactly what we want. I'll be honest, this makes me like really anxious and nervous starting this thing after it's been sitting for so long, just because I don't know what's gonna happen, but guys, it's freezing out here too. It's like 10 degrees. It definitely sounds like shit because it's untuned, and we got no, if you guys saw my last video of it on the lift, you would have saw the exhaust manifolds are barely even bolted onto the exhaust. That's why it sounds like a tractor up there. But I mean, it's running. That was the whole goal. I'm gonna call it a day and finish this video with that. So yeah, I plan to do a bunch more stuff with this car. First thing I got to do is get it tuned and get that exhaust bolted up. I know there's a shitload of holes in the exhaust, like right here on the ground. Check this out. It's like a rust from the exhaust just from running it. It's shot out. Like, I think it has glass packs, and I think that's mostly where it's rusted out. I think that's what this shit is. And then there was like rust stuff shooting out the exhaust too, from just the exhaust being shitty. So I'll probably do a whole new exhaust. I don't know if I'll do it or if I'll have the same guy that did my dad's other cars do it. But yeah, I mean, it didn't sound very good, but it ran. That's all that counts. It's a running engine. I mean, it was kind of a will it run, considering I threw a bunch of like different parts at it, but I'm still gonna count it. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed my first video back in a little while. Thank you for watching. Peace.